There. Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me now. I was crying like a baby. I wanted to cry like a baby the whole time, but I could not because I was also, unfortunately, with my friends on Discord trying to plan out our trip. So, unfortunately, I couldn't cry. But I loved it. I think it was an amazing episode. I think what really made this episode work was, unfortunately, I'll give flowers where it's due, Neil Druckmann directing the episode, because he should be the one person who understands these characters the most. I know you're laughing at me, Caskell. But like, if it's anybody, it should be him, right? Unfortunately, again. But can you see me? Because my preview isn't working. I'm gonna check on my phone. Which is fine if that's not working. I think everything's fine. Okay, yeah, no, we're good. We're good. Okay, so yeah, I think part of it is for, like, him, and then also, like, The Last of Us just works the best when it is Ellie and Joel, and when both of those characters are actually, like, truly fundamentally understood, or they make writing decisions that make sense based off of their characters, which it seems like with the flashback sequences, it does. I don't know why. A little bit of stuff was out of the order of events, but it really worked. I think I'm going to have to rewatch this episode again when I'm not occupied. Hi, Mr. Cadet Voyager. I have to watch it because, again, I was in chat with my friends. We were, like, FaceTime each other in Discord. So I couldn't fully submit myself to the episode, but I kind of took all the notes that I could, and I was paying attention while we were doing our last minute planning of things. Okay, the show only works that way. Obviously, I think it's just because they don't, like, I blame the writing on that, right? Because it should technically work between Dina and Ellie, or whenever Ellie's alone, and blah, 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 but it really worked. And then I think also that's probably why some of the show has been lacking, because in the game, you get flashbacks periodically throughout the different days in Seattle as Ellie. So you see that sort of progression of, like, not only her anger go over, but you see the deterioration of their relationship as well. You're presented with Joel more often than you are here, and I just, Joel is such a dad. Oh my god. Okay, so breaking down the episode, I did as best as I could. Let's see. We have young Tommy and Joel. We see that his dad's a cop, and that it's like this whole sort of really interesting flashback sequence that Neil Druckmann said at the end of the episode. He's just like, I never thought to go to younger Tommy and Joel. Really? The fans have been begging for Tommy and Joel, like, for forever. But you kind of see him be big brother in that moment by sort of taking the blame for his brother and his father, and then you see his father kind of maybe have a little bit of a change of heart in that moment, because he told him doing better than his dad did, and he hopes that that Joel's dad, he's trying to do better than his dad, and he hopes that Joel does better than he did. You know what I mean? That got me first, girl. That got me first in my feelings. I was like, don't you do this to me. Don't you do this to me. I might cry on stream, okay? And now that I kind of have a chance to sort of not doing two things at one time. And then we get the flashbacks, which are all happening on Ellie's birthday. Or for the most part, they're all falling on, like, Ellie's birthday. Which is, like, I actually kind of, like that. You know what I mean? That it's, like, sort of, like, you see the progression through the years. And then here's this sort of, like, one event that's carrying you throughout the birthdays, right? And then so you see Joel and Seth. We see Joel's woodwork. We love a man that has a hobby. Say it with me again. We love a man that has a hobby. his woodwork, him fixing the guitars. We see all that. I loved seeing that in action. We see how he took Ellie's drawing and put it on the guitar and him restore the guitars, but then you also again see his wood chopping skills. We love to see it. And then you sort of get Ellie's burn. So we see how that played out. In the game you don't see about it. Ellie talks about it, and then it's a little bit more in, I think, the journal, maybe? I don't even know. I don't even think so. It's that hard. And then you see Seth's birthday cake for Eli and not Ellie. Some folks call this a guitar. I wrote that down. Famous. We get Joel singing. Oh, Pedro. The talk of the birds and the bees. It's a dinosaur. We see Ellie on dinosaur, no jumping off. I understand why they wouldn't want her to jump off a dinosaur, because it'd be stunt work. But you should have been able to jump off the dinosaur, is all I'm saying. I don't know one person who doesn't jump off the dinosaur in the game. So, how he built the guitar for Ellie. Yes! We love a man with talent and skills like that. Oh, bring him back. Then we sort of get to the museum. I put Joel as such a dad. And then it starts off not with the dinosaur part of the museum. And the museum actually looks a little further away than right in front of where the dinosaur statue is. But we get to the space part, which is very, very important. Obviously, the space stuff, getting the helmet, getting the tape, which is probably one of the coolest moments within the actual second game, is when she's in the space thing. And then I've always loved it. In my last playthrough of it, the PS5 version, Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, I kind of said, like, how much I loved that moment of the game and how cool it was, because it's so immersive, because it's, like, if you just, like, the way that they have, like, the camera on her, but then you sort of see the lighting go around her, and they sort of recreated that in the television show, right? But I thought that was so well executed. Both in the game and in the TV show, I thought that was really nice and stuff. And then you kind of see how much he does love her and how much of, like, a dad he is. I think he's definitely more like dad in the TV show than he was in the game, because he was still, like, Joel dad, but, like, also kind of, like, still, like, Joel, like, that very much protector side of Joel. Versus in the TV show, he's a little bit more, like, they wrote him to be very, very girl dad. I think to make it more empathetic, you know what I mean? In a way. But yeah. And then you get 1 year later, then we get Ellie and Kat. Didn't think we were going to get that moment, but hey, there was Ellie and Kat. And then we see Ellie's tattoo, and then he was like, here's your drugs, tattoos, sex, rock and roll, you know, being dad. And then you see Ellie wants to move out. And then I hate seeing Ellie and Joel fight. How dare they? And then we see kind of like Joel sort of like, again, you see it in the game, you see it in the first season. It's like Ellie does something rebellious, and then Joel just has to have like 5 minutes, and he's just like, I support it. You know what I mean? Like, he's dad like that, you know? You know what I mean? Like, he's always going to support what his kid likes, you know what I mean? He'd be supportive in that way. He goes up to Gale. What does a moth mean? Moth is death. Then you get 2 years later, you see them kind of on a patrol. There's infected. They find Eugene. I was not ready for that moment. Okay, I was not emotionally ready. I truly feel like, it was like, okay, I definitely got like all that backstory that was like in the game or whatever. But when it kind of got to the Eugene moment, I was like, oh my God, this is The Last of Us. You know, I don't know. It just truly felt like it. And I feel like the TV show, like the first game Last of Us, you know what I mean? That moment felt like from the first game. I don't know, just like the tone of it, everything, it truly felt like that. So that's why I really like the Eugene moment. Even it breaks my heart though, you know what I mean? Because you see kind of like Ellie wanting to help people again, and we saw her do it with Sam, right? In the first game. Is it Sam or is that his brother's name? I think it's Sam. You see it with Sam in the first game, how in the first season as well, where she wants to like help, like I mean, like maybe I can help in some way, or like having that like survivor's guilt that she has and just wanting to help people, her purpose and stuff. That I forget, where is the purpose thing more explored in the TV show or the game? It may be within like journals in the game. It is Sam. Thank you. But, like, I sort of, like, you see that again with, like, Eugene, where she's like, he still has time, like, we can do something for him, you know what I mean? Because it's also, like, I feel like Game Eugene and TV show Eugene are also very different, you know what I mean? Like, that closeness, you know? That they probably felt towards Eugene in the game, felt much more present within the game versus a TV show. But, yeah, so they just want Joel to let him see his wife, just say kind of, like, goodbye, if they can. Everybody turns within 2 days, you know what I mean? So who even knows? You know, but then you see Joel. I can't believe Joel Lennied Eugene. That is insane. I can't believe he Lennied him. Everybody knows of Mice and Men, right? The whole look at the flowers Lenny moment. He did that to Eugene. Joel? I can't believe you did that to him. Like, oh my god. Like, he just, I don't know, maybe he knew that Ellie would try and help him. Or try and maybe be just like, we can help him. And Ellie might let out her... This is my theory, you know what I mean, that I have. Based off how Joel and Ellie understand each other. He knows Ellie wants to help. So I think that he would probably think that Ellie... Or is already showing signs of wanting to help Eugene. So maybe she's going to be doing something stupid, you know. So he has to sort of end Eugene's life so that it's clean cut and it's dry. A little backstory on the game is that he was a firefighter with Tommy and the weed, and he was like big into electrical stuff. That is essentially what we know with Eugene, but it did not have to shatter. It did not have to rip my soul out of my heart, but I'm a Last of Us fan. And then we see more of just like Ellie's survival guilt. He tells him he ended it himself. Ellie's like, that's not what happened. And I'm like, Ellie, chill, my girl. Like, sometimes it is good to lie to people. Okay, I lie to people all the time for my job, for the betterment of everything. You know what I mean? Cause like I feel like I forgot the weed. I don't know. Like I like it. We always like at the end of the episode. I didn't finish watching it because I accidentally stopped it, and I was like, oh wait, I have to watch the end of the episode. It's something like that. Joel's always been trying to like lie to protect people, and that's part of his character. But I feel like that's just being both like a parent and a human in general. Like you can tell the truth to people, but then also like he's doing it to cover up what he did, you know what I mean? But sometimes it is necessary to lie to people for their betterment. Honestly, it is. Again, I do it all the time at work, and then everything's fine. But yeah, for sure, Ellie didn't have to do that. And they said it was in a way to, like, punish Joel for what he's done. And that Ellie needed, like, that little bit, that side of Joel to be just like, you lied to me this entire time. Like, and I understand Ellie that, like, it would feel like the relationship's built on a lie because of, like, what Joel did. But, you know, it doesn't make me feel any better. And then we get 9 months later, you get the party. I can't believe Tommy said, see you next year. And they didn't see each other next year. The only time he saw his brothers when he was dead. It makes me cry just think about that. I hate this game. I love it, but I hate it at the same time. We see Joel push Seth. They go back to the porch. Ellie's like, you lied to me. Tell me what really happened. We get the scene happening at the porch now. And then Joel tells Ellie the truth. And then she sort of emphasizes, like, that you took, like, that, like, her death could have done something. Again, we, over here on this channel, me, myself, and I, at least, believe that, what do we say? That they would have not been able to find a cure. I will take that to my grave. But it would have meant something to Ellie. You know what I mean? She'd even say, like, I had so many questions for them. That did not come around this time in that dialogue exchange. But it was mainly just that I got pen on my leg. That they sort of hit home the concept that he took it from everyone. You know what I mean? That like Ellie's death had the potential to make a cure. That's what they were believing. That's what they were feeding them, right? Even though we know it wouldn't have happened. She sort of emphasizes that, and I think that that hurt, you know what I mean? But then he's like, because, what did he say? because you're selfish, she told him. And then he said, because I love you. And then he says, I'm gonna cry. If you ever have your own, I hope you do better than I did. Sort of paralleling what his father did for him and what his father told him, you know? And then we get Ellie, I can't forgive you, but I would like to try. I'm muted. I'm not, it says I'm not muted. It says my mic is working. Bruh, what is happening? Why is it still... I know why. Okay, can you hear me again? It's because my audio is still somehow connected to Discord. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Audio input capture. It's working now, right? Mr. Gaskell, you have to tell me. Why the heck? Let me open up Task Manager. And stop the audio. And just close Discord that way. What? Can you, like, work? Okay, I fully closed Discord. It should only be with OBS now. Okay, I think it's working. It should only be with OBS now. Yeah, it's working. I checked my stream on my phone. I don't know where I was in my analysis. You took it from everyone. They emphasized that with Joel, that he did that because you're selfish. You said, because I love you. If you ever have your own, I hope you do better than I did. Joel tells Ellie that this time around. Rips out my heart once again because he's just trying his best. You know what I mean? And I think you truly saw that with him and Sarah, that you're just like, he's just a dad trying to like do his best, you know? Or at least I felt that both in the game and the TV show. So I think he's also just trying to do that with Ellie, you know what I mean? And then she says, I can't forgive you, but I would like to try. And then we see Ellie go back to the theater, which makes me sort of just like, how long is the next episode gonna be? Because there's like going back to the theater and it's after like a flashback, I think. Well, no, they go back. I don't remember if it is a flashback in the game, even though we just played it. like a few weeks ago, that moment. But I know it's like you're with Tommy. Oh, there's probably be more Uncle Tommy stuff in Seattle. Maybe not, because it's like the like confrontation in the theater scene before it ends, where we know it's gonna end, doesn't happen for like doesn't happen, like it's a very quick scene, so I don't know why it would I'm just like, what are they adding to it? Are we gonna get a bit into Abby's story and it's gonna end on a different cliffhanger, or sort of what are they kind of doing for it? But for me, this episode is like a 9 out of 10. I feel like they really hit it emotionally. You know what I mean? And between the drama of the two characters, it's like, I'm like, oh, so they do understand Joel. They do understand Ellie. We kind of saw that they do understand them in like the first 2 episodes. Well, Joel more than Ellie. I don't think it's weird, because I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, they understand Ellie, and I'm like, they completely misunderstood the point of her character. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's been most of the season. I'm like, you're misunderstanding Ellie and who she is, and you're sort of rewriting her to fit within the context of what you want to happen through the events of the game, but you're also forgetting who she is as a character. You know what I mean? I've been feeling that with the last handful of episodes, but with this one, I'm like, no, they kind of do understand Ellie. They understand Joel. They understand their dynamic and why it works. They just can't write it in a, like, they just, like, don't know what to do with the rest of the stuff in the second game. You know what I mean? Which it's like, again, always very judgmental of the events of the second game. But in a way, it's sort of like, no matter what sort of critiques you have of the second game, you're probably going to have the same critiques of the TV show, in terms of just like, if you didn't like Abby, if you thought they made Ellie weird, or you didn't like the changes they made with Ellie within the second game, you're not going to like the TV show. You're going to hate it even more. But I like the second game. I enjoy it. I mean, I keep playing it, you know what I mean, over and over again. And because it's so much time with Ellie, it's the extra time we get with Joel through the flashbacks, you know? So that's why I play it. And then I play Abby's for the fun of it, because it's the best moments in the game. So, that we are getting next season. But, yeah, it's just, it's like they do and they don't understand. They understand it when it makes sense in terms of just, like, the context of the episode, but then they don't understand them when, like, it's so inconsistent. I mean, the best episodes so far are 1, 2, and 6. You know what I mean? Like, I would watch those again standalone. Maybe not 1 as much as I watch, like, 2 and 6 over and over again. But, for sure, again, I need to rewatch it with my, like, full attention to it. But for me, it's, like, a 9 out of 10. I think it's one of the best episodes of The Last of Us. It truly feels like The Last of Us. I might even give it a 10, which is, I hate it. I hate giving it a 10. But, like, I feel like they understood the characters, their dynamic, what it's supposed to mean to each other, they're falling out, them sort of coming back together at the end in these last few minutes of talking to each other. You know, they sort of are able to just, like, in a way, start new. Yeah, it was boring as shit. It was boring. Yeah, I think they do. It's just so frustrating to be just like, no, they do get it. They do get it. But it's just like, you can't get it the rest of the season. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand it. It does not make sense to me how, as, like, character arcs and character traits and personalities and everything, it's just like how that is so heavily lacking in certain episodes, but except for when it's convenient for the plot, you know what I mean? Like, it's worse plot armor than the game has, you know? But, like, I for sure, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I hate to give Neil Druckmann his flowers, but I will when it's appropriate. I think he did it. The writers of the episode understood it as well, even in the way that they changed certain scenes around, like the whole Eugene thing and the whole bringing him back to Gale. That sort of thing felt very much like The Last of Us, and it felt very much like The Last of Us from like the first game, you know what I mean? Like I was having like I could almost see the game being played out in PS3 graphics. You know, those scenes played out. I could. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I feel like again, within the TV show likes to heavily focus on the drama of it, and then with the action, like, and then it's just like, but like whenever they were able to focus on it for this episode, and the arc being the flashbacks throughout the years of Ellie and Joel, to me it made sense, you know, like it really did. It truly did make sense. In terms of just like the characters, it felt like these were the characters that I've known for over a decade, that I've loved for over a decade, and like all their flaws and everything, and just like the questions of like morality that are just like so present within the game, you know what I mean? Not only with just like Joel's decision, but just like overall, it was much more. Well, I feel like the questions of just like humanity and everything are present within the second game. It's just not as effectively told as you get in the first game, because a lot of the humanity comes from Abby's storyline, and within the when it comes to like Lev and Yara and the scars and everything like that, you know what I mean? Like that's where truly like more of the heart in the second game is, versus like Ellie, it's very kind of different, you know what I mean? Versus in the first game, Ellie's like the heart of it, you know what I mean? Or the heart of it for Joel. So they did, and I just like, I loved it. I think that Pedro did a good job of him, even if he is very much more dad. They write him to be much more kind of like dad, you know what I mean? And again, it's not that Joel isn't in the game, but it's just like he is, but within like a certain context of being a protector and a provider, you know what I mean? Which you also get in the TV show, but again, TV Joel, game Joel are very different. But yeah, so I feel like it's frustrating, because again, they understand the characters, but then they don't. But then it's just like, and again, they tried to focus more on the drama in the first season. It kind of worked enough for it here. It definitely worked here because there was there was like no action in this episode. But versus when they do it in the TV show, they don't, she gets a little messy at times. We do love that there's more action. But again, sometimes it's a little like, what are you doing, here? But yeah, it was really cool to see them again. It makes like, and seeing a little bit more of just like Joel in that way, of him being like a dad versus him being like the protector and the provider. I will say that like it is really cool to see that dynamic played out. I feel like we have seen it played out within the TV show and the first game already, but getting like extra of that was really, really good. And then like, the conversation between Ellie and Joel, that's so much more worse in the TV show than in the game, because they're both crying, and then I'm like, I don't ever want to see Pedro cry. The way his eyes were watering, I was like, no. But yes, I also have to be up at like 4:30 in the morning. So I think I'm gonna cut this episode short. It's less of a rant. It's more of like, they kind of did everything right. There's like, I don't know if I do anything different. I think Ellie's decision of telling Gale the truth, I don't necessarily see that being like such a thing that Ellie would do in the game, because there's like this understanding that she has with Joel of that she kind of like follows his lead, you know what I mean? But in the TV show, Ellie never really does that, so it makes sense within that context of it. Even though that's like the kind of only moment that I feel like is out of character for her. But it's sort of, me too, I have to get up early. But I think it makes sense in the context of TV show Ellie. And I don't know, to me it just, like using it as punishment to Joel, I don't, in the way they're sort of writing the TV show, I feel like that's what they're doing, and like, I don't know. Like, maybe it's because I don't ever want him to be just like, Joel deserves punishment for the consequences of his action. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm delusional. No, he doesn't. Like, that's me. Even though the whole second game is the consequences of his actions is he got murdered. But, yeah, other than that, I thought the episode played to perfection. We got a little bit more Catherine O'Hara. I am still in love with her. She's so good. Eugene, why would you break my heart in those ways? I have to keep in mind the TV is a different medium from the game. It is very much a different medium, but the way that they're writing the characters are very different, and both in like their personalities and some of their character traits, which I sort of always mention, which is my biggest like thing is just like how they make Gina smarter than Ellie. Ellie's smart in the game. She's also a survivor. She would have learned from Joel. There was no reason for her to be dumb, especially if it is like the way like father-daughter relationships works, the way the things that the father teaches like the daughters in a way of like protecting themselves, or like, here's how you like change a tire so you don't ever have to like wait on like a man sort of thing. Like, I feel like Joel, Kathy's my girl. Yes, she is. But like in that sort of way, you know what I mean? Like, a dad would want you to know how to survive, to take care of yourself, how to shoot a gun, for like all these like protective, proactive situations, you know what I mean? Or this like proactive training. So Ellie in theory should be more equipped to handle the situations that Joel can handle, you know what I mean? Like that makes sense. Like, that is also like, that gives like backstory of Joel teaching Ellie, but it also gives like characterization of that father-daughter relationship that I would sort of expect to see. And the fact that they make Dina dumb, or not, they make Ellie dumb, or like not as smart as Dina in combat situations, or like planning and like certain things like that. I'm like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? That's Joel's daughter. Like, it like by design she shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? So that's where like those issues are that I have. And then it's like Joel's kind of a little bit more emotional in the TV show than the game. You know, versus like not that like versus in the game he still has just very much has this front about him, you know what I mean? Like, even when Ellie in the game says, but I'd like to try, and he's like, I like that, you can start to see him like choking up and showing emotion, you see it there. It's just much more explicit. Like, it's weird, right? Because sometimes it's like we're understanding Joel through like his dialogue and his facial expressions, both in the game and the TV show. But in the TV show, they are emphasizing it more. And I don't think it necessarily has to be emphasized, but it's almost like treating your audience as being dumb by thinking that they couldn't pick up on those context clues in other situations just based off of their behavior and like their facial expressions, you know what I mean? Like, that's enough for the audience to pick up on it. You don't have to shove it down my throat that like Joel has trauma, you know, in that sort of way, you know what I mean? Like, I keep referencing like Sinners, you know what I mean? Because that was like a show don't tell type of movie, and it was just chef's kiss perfection. I want to watch it again for the third time in theaters, but I want to watch it in IMAX, and that's my fault for watching it in IMAX twice. But like, I feel like that movie's a good case of show don't tell, versus like some of the stuff in the TV show is like they're telling you rather than having you show it and figure it out, you know what I mean? Which in the game it's also show don't tell, you know what I mean? In certain ways, and obviously, like, even if you don't look at all the notes, or you're not looking at all like the journal entries in the game, you can still sort of like, that's like extra, you know what I mean? But within like the TV, like within the game and stuff, it is very much well done, because it is a much more show don't tell type of approach, you know, versus like you can look at the whole reveal of Abby's dad and her monologue before Joe's death as being just like telling you instead of showing you, you know what I mean? Because that's what's just like the cool parts of the games are the reveals, is the progressions after every day with the flashbacks of Joel and the deterioration of the relationship, and you slowly are seeing that over time, but then you're sort of getting Ellie becoming angrier and angrier over his death. So it's like that sort of like thing happening there. which makes so much more sense, you know what I mean? And then also there's another example I was going to use for the game, and I forgot it, like, because I got busy talking about, like, Ellie, the flashbacks with Ellie, and what else are they kind of showing in the TV show? It was something to do with Abby. Oh, yeah, the reveals for Abby. Like, the whole, like, we did not have to know so much about the wolves, or, like, Abby and her team right off the bat. Cold open, Salt Lake crew, they buried 18 bodies, you know what I mean? Like, that was, it I can't speak for out of context of, like, not being a fan of the game, but, like, getting that reveal of the game of, like, you're discovering they're wolves, you're discovering that, oh, it was Abby's dad, oh, these are fireflies from Salt Lake, getting whole that, like, reveal within the game is really cool, because it's building up the mystery over hours and hours and hours, and you sort of forget about it, you know what I mean? But, yeah, it's very much a show don't tell type of thing. That is very much well done within the game, you know what I mean? And keeping up that mystery. I feel like maybe they'd feel like they would lose viewers because they'd be like, who the hell is this? Because I think that's a critique from the game. I don't know if it is, but, like, I don't know. Like, the writing for me of getting the reveal of it is what makes it so dramatic. And what makes it kind of just, like, have the impact it does is, like, when you see that in the game versus, like, it having to just be, bleh, like, just, like, bleh, to you within the TV show, you know? So that's my critique of it. They did do a good job with Eugene, though, not only handling his scene within this episode. I can't believe he Lenny'd him. I can't believe he Lenny'd him. Like, that is so crazy. But, like, that would be, like, a Joel type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, he would probably do that to somebody he cared about, you know, if he had to, you know, or he just cold-blooded. I think it also just what they did with the TV shows made him the cold-blooded killer that we sort of never saw of him. In the first game you see it when they get to Pittsburgh, but, you know, but, like, also kind of, like, foreshadowing the events of Eugene in the beginning episodes. I thought it was just sort of just, like, throwaway dialogue. I had no idea that they were like, oh, we're going to show them that. So I think they did a fantastic job with that, which also proves they can do it because they built up the mystery around Eugene's death. What happened to him? It's different in the game and the TV show because he dies of old age in the game, and in the TV show something happens, Joel did something to him. You can obviously assume he probably killed him, but was it in cold blood or was it because he was infected? It's kind of both, you know? So they can do reveals very, very well and do them very cleverly and have them cleverly written and have them arc over different episodes, but they just don't do it. Like they did such a good job of it in the TV show, but I'm just like, but what about the actual stuff that matters from the game, you know? But we'll see. We have one more episode left, the finale. Obviously it's going to be the confrontation. I don't know how deep into the confrontation it's going to go, if we're going to get Uncle Tommy back or not. But we for sure 100% know where it's ending. I do hope that it just, on the cliffhanger, you know, that cut where it's just like, we let you live and you wasted it. You know, I hope it's just that, cut to black, Sopranos ending. Like, I really genuinely hope that's what they do. At the end, I hope. Because then, the thing is just, like, people are going to compare it to Sopranos. First of all, the series finale of Sopranos. Because it's just, like, a cut to black. Just straight, like, nothing. You know what I mean? Except we get another season out of it. Which we know what we're getting. Which actually, based off the action they've given us in this season, makes me happy to see that play out as Abby. And I swear to God, they better do those action sequences for Abby justice, because they are, for one, the coolest moments in the game. For two, they are, like, just imagine her getting dragged by the Seraphites. You know what I mean? Imagine the last battle on the island. You know what I mean? What was also really cool for Abby? Oh, the Rat King. You know what I mean? I'm anxious for the confrontation. They better not change it. They are smart enough to know what to not change within it, but they still just change the most ridiculous things. I'm anxious too. Is Uncle Tommy gonna be there? Where's my Uncle Tommy? And I have a feeling they better not make it Uncle Tommy. I wonder if they'll do Jesse again. I mean, like, they sort of have to, based off if, but then also they just probably gonna do some crazy change up. You know what I mean? And they better show Lev. They better show Lev. I want to see Lev in live action. I really, really do. I really hope we get that. You know what I mean? Because it's sort of like a little teaser in a way, because at the end of, in the finale, like, one of the nurses was Laura Bailey, who plays Abby. I hope it's, like, a cool little cameo like that for, like, well, like, in a way of just, like, in the same way that you see Lev. You just see somebody with a bow sort of walking in the background, you know? I want that, please. But, yeah, because I'm worried they might just off Uncle Tommy. I'm worried they're gonna do that, which would be crazy. But I have a feeling in my bones. And they better not do it, because we need Uncle Tommy. Well, if they do it again, we know how it goes, because then we're going to get the 3 days with Abby in Seattle. So we'll get to see Uncle Tommy. But I'm nervous that the TV show is going to pull some bull like that, okay? They better not, but they want to be dramatic with everything that they do. But this episode, probably 10 out of 10 for me. Ellie's perfection here. And it shows that, like, also not only do they understand Ellie, but when they write Ellie in a good way, Bella also understands Ellie too. You know what I mean? But it's also, some of it's the writing, some of it's acting choices, you know what I mean? But I think the choices made in this episode were perfection. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yeah, that's Ellie. That's Ellie. That's so Ellie. You know what I mean? In a way that I sort of supported all the decisions within the first season that Bella made for Ellie. So you're nervous too. I'm not the only one that thinks it's going to be Tommy, right? I'm not the only one that thinks it's going to be Tommy. But it can't, but like, Jesse also got to go too. For the plot, Jesse got to go. My beautiful Jesse got to go. My beautiful Jesse got to go. But yeah, Pedro understands Joel. Bella understands Joel. They understand Joel. Neil Druckmann, you did give us probably the best emotional moments of the entire. I'm not going to say the entire series, but for sure, probably the entire season. Yeah, I feel like he really executed that well. The directing was great. I had really no complaints about the directing at all. Or like how stuff was blocked out within the cinematography, the DP. You know Jesse gotta go. You know Jesse gotta go. Like, for the plot, he does. They gave us more Jesse, but at what cost? That's more emotional attachment to him. You're already emotionally attached to him in the game, which is crazy, you know? But yeah, so, yeah, I have zero complaints directing or sort of cinematography wise, or anything like writing wise. Like, I really don't complain about anything, again, except for the decision for Ellie to confront Gale or Joel in that way. But it makes sense within the context of the TV show, characters, you know what I mean? So I'm cool with it, you know what I mean? But everything else was just perfection. And I love it when I think the TV show also is really, really good when it shows the stuff that the game didn't, like seeing the burn mark, or getting the burn mark, getting to see Ellie's tattoo, getting to see Ellie and Kat, you know what I mean? Sort of those moments, I think, are also when the show shines, because it's like, it's maybe like a little bit of a deviation from the game, but it's like you're kind of seeing it for the first time, so it's like you kind of have to like buy that as being how it would have played out in the game. But yes, okay, I need to end the stream. So I love this episode. Emotionally, the best. Character arcs, the best. The drama, the best. It felt like the truly back to formula, The Last of Us, what it's truly about at its core, what it gave us within like the first game. It's like we're finally seeing that in the second game, you know, which is very different, because I feel like you never really get the sense of the first game within the second one, like, too much, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels so standalone, part 2 from part 1. Maybe in like the St. Mary's Hospital flashback, that's a little bit of it. But yeah, no, truly truly felt like The Last of Us in all the best and horrible ways that it can, with very much, again, there's the complexities around, like, humanity, that I felt like were very present here, and, like, emotionally with, like, the people that you love or you care about, like, with, like, Eugene and everything within that context of it. It was truly great writing, great directing, great editing, great episode, just, like, great work there, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, we only got 1, 2, and 6 that are the good ones. We got some bangers, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, stuff like the House of the Dragon, it sort of is a little bit more consistent, you know what I mean? I feel like, in terms of just, like, the quality of it, you know what I mean? Like, you sort of, I have an expectation of what I expect, and then we goes dragon fights, and then that's it. But yeah, so, I really, truly loved it. As a fan, I feel like all the fans are gonna really love it, you know? You know what I mean? This episode in particular, it'll be just like, yeah, this is what you should have been doing the whole time. We should have given us the whole time, you know what I mean? And I'm like, you don't gotta watch, if you don't like the TV show as the fans of the game, I'm like, you just gotta watch this one, because it's just really gonna give you, what you want out of both the TV show and the game. You know what I mean? Like, it truly gave me what I wanted out of it, you know? So it was beautiful. Neil Druckmann, he still has it in him. Who would have thought? We thought he didn't. We thought he didn't have it. I gave up on him after part 2, I'm gonna be honest. And his weird decisions in the, or it was not like, I think it was more like him supporting the decisions that were happening within the TV show. I was like, okay, Neil. And just, like, around the stuff, all the stuff surrounding, like, the release of the second game, and Ego and everything, but you sort of still have it in you, Neil. You still have it in you, Neil. I don't know if, I don't trust it fully. You got, like, 10% of my trust back. It's enough to make me buy the next game. I'll say that. What Neil did here is enough to make me buy, the next Naughty Dog game, but where's The Last of Us Part 3, Neil? That's what the people want. I need to know what happens to Ellie. That is just, like, such a horrendous cliffhanger. You know what I mean? But also, it could be Tommy and Joel. It could be a Tommy and Joel backstory. It could not even be our favorite characters. You could give me new characters. Give me more complex theories of humanity. You know what I mean? We can go anywhere. We can be with the Rattlers. I don't care. Just give me more The Last of Us. Besides remasters, which makes me think they're never going to make another Last of Us game ever. Unfortunately for us, we just get remasters till we die. But thank you, Mr. Caskell, for saying the whole time. Next week will be the last of these live streams. Till the next season. Part 3, no intergalactic, yeah, because I forgot what it is. They only did the teaser with Tony Gabrielle. But yeah, so yeah, so I mean, the thing is just, like, this is, like, a gaming channel, so most of, like, if I do this again, it has to be for, like, another gaming series. But the thing is, like, Fallout doesn't come out weekly, right? So it's, wait, does it? I mean, they could, right? They could do Fallout weekly. So, like, whatever sort of next sort of video game, TV show adaptation we can get. Because if it's, like, on Netflix or whatever, and it's just, like, all available at once, then I'm just like, oh, I don't know. Well, we'll find. You'll know if I decide to do more live streams for other, like, TV shows or, like, movies or whatever. But I watched Final Destination, Bloodlines, and I loved it. I think it was so good. Cinema's back, baby. Movies are back. It was, like, so good. Fallout is going to be a while. Yeah, I know they're filming it, which makes me so sad because they were supposed to film it where I work. And then they were like, oh, no, come to LA. They, like, had to beg them to take Fallout to LA. And I'm just like, I could have been employed on one of the coolest things I could have ever been employed on. And Los Angeles took it from me. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. Anyways, It's almost bittersweet. I kind of don't want last week to end because I love dragging the show. I love dragging the show, but I also love supporting everything that they do right. You know what I mean? It's a little bit hypocritical of me based off some things I've worked on, probably. Hey, but you know what? I work in the AD department. I don't write anything. But yeah, so this is always enjoyable to do. I gotta get ready for bed. Oh my god. I gotta get ready. Oh, I don't want to work tomorrow. Or Tuesday. Oh god. But thank you so much for joining me for my streams. These are always so fun to do. And yeah, next episode will be the last. It makes me bittersweet. It's so bittersweet. But yes, so I will see you next week for the finale of The Last of Us Season 2. How are they going to do it? How are they going to do it? I have a feeling they're just going to change it up. I really do. They're going to change up some things there. Just because they can. Because they're the TV show. Versus messing with the perfection that the second game is. Okay? But anyways, thanks so much for watching. I'm not going to have gaming videos come out this week because I just needed mentally a break from everything. Like, I just wanted to just lay down and stare at the wall and just disassociate for the whole weekend because that's how tough my work is being. But I'm only booked for 2 days so far, so hopefully later in the week I can get some gaming videos out because I want to play Batman and the Shadows, and I need to get those games done because there's like other games coming out that we gotta play. I'm nervous. See what I mean? Like, the vibes are like throughout the whole fandom. You know what I mean? It's not just me. You know what I mean? The vibes are there. You know they're going to do it. You know they're going to pull some BS. You know they're going to do it. It might be Dina, for all we know. Just kidding. It won't be Dina. But they're going to... Okay. Anyways, we'll figure it out in a week. Thank you so much for joining me for this stream. And I will see you next week. Bye. Love you.